Hey everyone, now that Fast X is out on the streaming, I figured it's a good time to finally rank the Fast and Furious movies. All 11 of these fuckers. Spoiler alert for everything, because I already know I'm gonna end up spoiling Fast X when I get to it. Alright, starting off. Number 11 is Fast and Furious, the fourth one. This is the bottom of the barrel for me. This is the worst it gets. I don't hate it, but it's not good. The acting has improved over the first three movies, but the plot makes very little sense. We get the introduction to Gal Gadot's Giselle, and okay, she's pretty good. Unfortunately, this is also the point where it really started to hit home that no one really gets very much character development in these movies. So, yeah. Cinematography and the editing are decent enough, the music is good, and I don't know, it's fun, but it's not fun enough to compensate for all of its problems.
Hold on to something tight!
My score is 2 out of 5. Number 10 is Too Fast, Too Furious. This one is arguably the dumbest in the franchise, but it's more fun than the fourth movie, so that kind of compensates for it.
What are you doing, Brian?
I don't know, but if Barone sees a helicopter or customs boat, she's dead.
Boat, car, boat. You're not gonna do what I think you're gonna do.
Yeah, I think so. You got my back, bro? Yeah. All right, man, put on the seatbelt.
You on some real Dukes of Hazzard shit,
We're gonna do this big. Hold on, Rome. Hold on.
Oh, Brian, you crazy, man! What the hell you doing?
This was back when the acting was still a little iffy, but it's not bad. The effects used for when the cars activate their NOS in this movie kind of looks like they're jumping to light speed, and it looks dumb, but it also helps it stand out a little bit, so, you know, that's something. We get introduced to Roman, who is one of my favorite characters in this franchise. Musical score is fine, not all that memorable compared to the others, but it's fine. The villain is a bit more memorable than the villain in Part 4, so that's also something. And also, just Eva Mendes. That is all. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 9 is, well, F9. This one has some cool stuff that helps it stand out, but overall, it kind of just feels like more of the same. The acting is par for the course. The action is well done, but not all of it was necessary, let's just say. Some of it felt pointless. There are plenty of fun character moments, and those little character moments are the main reason I enjoy these movies. Not the action, not the lack of character development, no, just the little interactions between characters. Those are my favorite parts of any of these movies. Whoever thought John Cena would be convincing as Vin Diesel's brother, I don't know what the hell you were thinking, but you were wrong. Like, just look at these guys. They look nothing alike. The only things they have in common are that they are white and muscular. My score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 8 is The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Obviously, this is not my favorite movie in the franchise, but when Christopher Nolan loves a movie, that says something. I love Sung Kang as Han. I don't hate Lucas Black. I've seen him give good performances, but his performance in this movie is meh. It's not awful. There are some moments where he's actually convincing, but overall it's just kind of bland. The action is what helps this movie stand out from the crowd. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 7 is Fast X. This might be the biggest mixed bag in the entire franchise. It has so much going for it, so many cool ideas, and it's all bogged down by a lot of the same problems as the rest of the franchise. I love that we actually get a deconstruction of the whole power of family theme in the series. Dante Reyes takes advantage of Dom's love for his family to manipulate him and his team at every turn, separating them from each other and weakening them. Dom's wide circle of friends and allies around him only means more people that Dante can use to threaten and torment him. And no matter how badass Dom is, and frankly how invulnerable he is, there's no way he can save them all. And speaking of which, this movie proves that invulnerability is a genetic trait, because his kid has it too. This is where we get into spoiler territory, so I'll put up a little warning down here if you haven't seen this one yet. Above all, Dom's habit of making allies out of his former enemies gets turned on its head when Ames not only pretends to join Dom's side, but is actually the mole for Dante all along. Something that both Dante and Ames mock Dom for believing. This even applies to other characters too. Roman and Tej, as close as they have been throughout the series, get into a pretty serious feud that lasts for a decent chunk of the movie, when Roman's "it's all about me" attitude is pushed a little bit too far, and it's only resolved when both of them accept their own flaws and forgive each other. Aside from that, every minute that Jacob and Little B are on screen together is delightful, and Jason Momoa is a breath of fresh air in terms of villainy.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Okay, song lyrics, stub toes, and cannon cars.
And I will say, Cypher gets the best line when she realizes that she is not the devil. Figuratively, of course. Now, as much as I love all of that, that is only part of the movie. Those and all the other bright spots are buried under a muddled mess of padding, pointless extra fight scenes, and just general nonsense that has plagued this franchise for years. Like, the whole series of events with Letty and Cypher, it just feels like it happens out of order. They get up, they start working together, they fight, they find out they're stranded, and then they work together again. Like, does anyone else feel like that was a little contrived? Like, I feel like they should have just started fighting right away, and then realized they were stranded, and then worked together. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 6 is The Fate of the Furious. This one has some of the better humor in the franchise, but as a whole, it feels like a step down from a couple of the previous entries. And I mean, sorry, previous entries chronologically, not in terms of ranking. This movie is a NOS-fueled thrill ride that grabs you and never lets go. It has some unique stuff to help it stand out, like the whole zombie car sequence.
The police torch!
Ouch.
Oh, ¡Poyéjale!
Police escort down.
Take out the lead and follow cars.
¡Poyéjale, please!
That whole sequence, it is exaggerated, but not completely absurd. Like, that kind of thing could happen in real life. Not to that extent. Like, there's no way all of those cars could be controlled remotely, but enough cars can be controlled remotely that a smaller scale version of that could happen in real life. So, that was pretty cool. Dom turning on his family was awesome. Unfortunately, they kind of partially ruined it by revealing his reason for doing so right off the bat. Like, they could have kept it a mystery. They could have made us wonder what the hell happened, and then eventually reveal it, but no, they just give us the reason right off the bat. And it makes it that much less interesting. Like I mentioned earlier, it's the little character moments that really help this movie work. Especially when we get to the finale, and the franchise just continues its run of giving the middle finger to physics. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 5 is Fast and Furious 6. This movie is pretty much in the same boat as Fate of the Furious, where it's not great, but it has some unique stuff in it that helps it stand out. Okay, maybe not unique in action, maybe not unique among other action movies in general, but unique among the franchise at the very least. Mainly the flipper cars and the tank chase. Those...
All right, you heard the man. Let's play this fast and clean. That thing's heading your way. All systems go.
Everything looks stable.
Guys, we gotta come up with another plan. They got a tank.
And also the stupidly mematically long runway for the climax. The humor here is a step down from Fate of the Furious, but the action is a step up, so that helps. Like every movie in this franchise, the humor is hit and miss, but when it hits, it's very funny. The acting continues its trend of getting slightly better with each movie, and Luke Evans makes for one of the better villains in the series. The score is 3 out of 5. Number 4 is Hobbs and Shaw. This one isn't great, but it's entertaining as hell. And my one complaint with it is that it feels like we did this already in Fate of the Furious. Like, it feels like we already rectified this situation in that movie, and now they're just dredging it up. Sorry, by it, I mean the, and let's call it what it is, the dick measuring contest between Hobbs and Shaw. Like, it feels like we already did that in Fate of the Furious, and now they're dredging it up again for a whole movie. With that being said, it is very entertaining to watch. I will say, one thing I felt like was a cool idea that they really could have done more of was the bit where you see the split screen, with each of them going about their day, like starting with waking up in the morning and then going on to whatever they do during the day. Like, imagine if the whole movie had been like that. Like, they could have found interesting ways to have them coincide with each other, especially, like, when they fight each other, and you see it from both perspectives at the same time. That would have been so cool. But anyway, it was cool for the little bit that we got of it. Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham have some pretty good chemistry for their little rivalry, and Vanessa Kirby really shines. Like, her character could have easily been a damsel in distress, but no, she's actually perfectly competent in her own right, aside from one or two stupid decisions. Idris Elba makes for a solid villain, although his fate was very underwhelming. The action is among the best in the franchise, thank you David Leitch, and the humor overall mostly works. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 3 is The Fast and the Furious. It is downright bizarre going back and rewatching this first movie after seeing all of the others, and just how low the stakes were. And the funniest thing in the whole damn franchise, the fact that the only person to have ever defeated Dominic Toretto is a nameless truck driver with a shotgun. Let that sink in. This movie becomes at least 10% more enjoyable once you realize that it's basically just a modern update of the old stagecoach robbery movies. You know, except replace the horses with cars and the stagecoaches with semi-trucks. That is this movie. And honestly, I love it. Unlike some of the later movies, it knows what it is, and it's not trying to be anything else. The acting is good enough. Nobody's giving any Oscar-worthy performances, but nobody's particularly awful either. The action holds up pretty damn well. I don't even know. Like, all of the action stands out in its own way. And one thing I found hilarious is that for all of the things this franchise gets wrong about cars, Dom's entire monologue about how his father died and, like, what happened with what happened with there being too much torque or whatever, that whole thing is completely accurate.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad built her. 900 horses of Detroit muscle. It's a beast. Know what she ran in Palmdale?
No, what did she run?
9 seconds flat. My dad was driving it. So much torque, the chassis twisted coming off the line. Barely kept her on the track.
So what's your best time?
I've never driven her.
Why not?
Scares the shit out of me.
Especially in this franchise, they tend to confuse torque with horsepower. This first movie actually gets that right. So, well done. The score is 3.5 out of 5. Number 2 is Furious 7. This one has one of the cringiest attempted bits at comedy in the entire franchise, but aside from that, most of the comedy actually works. This wasn't the peak for the franchise, but like this was a high point, and then they've been trying to get back up to it ever since. And it hasn't worked. The acting is the best in the franchise up to this point. The whole journey of Dom trying to help Letty recover from her amnesia is pretty heartwarming. But Jesus Christ, why the fuck did you have Dom get married in a tank top? I don't care how much of a car nut he is, you know damn well he owns something nicer than that and he would wear it to his damn wedding. Especially since Letty is wearing a fucking dress. Either have them both wear their regular clothes or have them both dress up fancy. Don't go one of each. Implausible as it is, the whole sequence jumping the car between skyscrapers is just so ludicrous and hilarious that I absolutely love it. And for all the times these movies give the middle finger to physics, Brian running up the bus as it's sliding over the cliff is actually 100% plausible. No, seriously, I'll drop a link in the description. So, that's actually pretty cool. This was the one where James Wan got on board, and in terms of direction, he definitely helps this one stand out a bit. And also, the tribute to Paul Walker at the end is just very touching. My score is 3.5 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Fast 5. This is the peak that the franchise has been trying unsuccessfully to reach for over 12 years. The acting isn't the best in the franchise, but it was the best in the franchise up until this point. This was the point where the acting actually started to get, like, kind of impressive. The action is the best in the franchise. The Rock as Luke Hobbs is a welcome breath of fresh air in terms of character.
Yeah, real tough. You turn around and put your hands behind your back.
I don't think so.
Your mistake is thinking you've got a goddamn choice, boy.
Your mistake? Thinking you're in America. You're a long way from home. This is Brazil.
And considering how good this movie was, it makes sense that when they were making Fast X, they figured, hey, let's go back to the best movie in the franchise and let's connect this to that more directly. So, that makes sense. I've seen multiple instances of, like, experts trying to break down the whole dragging the safe through the streets, and they don't all agree on how plausible it is, but the general consensus I'm getting is that the two cars dragging the safe through the street is at least somewhat plausible, but one car doing it, not gonna happen. Once they switch out the full safe for the empty safe, then it becomes a bit more plausible. Because, you know, less weight. Although, to their credit, that was not CGI. I'm sure there was some CGI to do touch-ups or whatever, but the safe itself being dragged through the streets was completely real. Basically what they did is they took a pickup truck and they cut out the middle third. And they put the front and back together, and they put that inside of the safe with a driver so they could at least have some control over its direction as the cars were dragging it. And like some of the other movies in the franchise, that it's that kind of unique action set piece that, absurd as it is, helps this movie stand out. In terms of humor, this movie has the best hit-to-miss ratio in the entire franchise, so that also helps. My score is 4 out of 5. Hey everyone, what's your ranking? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, tell me why, then subscribe anyway. You'll be notified when I upload a new video, and then watch that and tell me why that one sucks. Or maybe where I've improved. Or both, who knows. I have a Patreon if that's something that interests you. I'll take any support I can get. So far, it's 2 tiers. The first tier is access to exclusive content. The second tier is that you can commission tribute videos. That link is in the description, so please check that out if it interests you. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.